Namaste viewers, welcome to Gnana channel. Today we will try to understand the 29th Sutra. 29th Sutra from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Vibhuti Pada. This is the third chapter, Vibhuti Pada. The sutra goes like this: Dhruve Tad-gati jñānam. It's a very simple sutra. Dhruve tad-gati jñānam. But the meaning here is tremendous. Let us go through the meaning word by word and then go to the details of this, the word by word and how it is, what are the things that we achieve through this sutra. Dhruve means on. This is with respect to the Dhruva nakshatra. Dhruva nakshatra is the pole star. Pole star. It's a fixed stellar principle. You can call it as pole star. Tat, that which is said of that. Gatihi, then course, motion, pathway, movement of these planets, stars, everything. Jnānam, you get the knowledge of understanding of all the other course of action. So literally from samyama on Dhruva, from the study on the Dhruva nakshatra comes knowledge of that or the course of all these other nakshatras and other things. Now, how do we understand this? It's simple but very profound in its meaning. The sutra says when a yogi, when a sadhaka applies samyama, samyama is one-pointed concentration, focused attention, meditation, then absorption on this Dhruva, the pole star or the fixed stellar principle, the yogi gains knowledge of the courses and motions of planets and stars. That is their paths, that is gati, how they move and then what are all the things. Practically, a competent yogi who focuses deeply on Dhruva can perceive how heavenly bodies move and relate to each other. So very ridiculous, na? Let's go through in detail, then we will try to understand it. This sutra is based in the part of Vibhuti Pada describing cosmic and knowledge-oriented attainments that arise from disciplined samyama. Disciplined samyama is studies, deep studies. So this has got links with the 26 sutra, samyama qualities and activities that give powers or insight, that is elephant-like strength, knowledge of subtle, hidden, remote things. Samyama, the sun, knowledge of the worlds, bhuvanas. Samyama, the moon, knowledge of the star systems. And this sutra, Samyama and Dhruva, knowledge of the courses, gati of planets and stars. So there is a steady expansion from the sutras, particular qualities, subtle, hidden things, solar knowledge, lunar star knowledge, systematic motion of the heavens, the organizing idea. All these things apply the same inner method, samyama, to successive cosmic principles and the corresponding knowledges that appear. So, dhruve samyamat tad-gati jñānam. Dhruve samyamat. That means by samyama on Dhruva. Samyama means you can say very deep and then it's a highly refined study on Dhruva, knowledge of their courses arise. Yoginaha nakshatra gamanani antarjayante. Yogis perceive the movements of the stars. Siddhivihi mohaha na kriyatam lakshyam swatantratam. So this means do not be deluded by powers. The goal is freedom. So all these statements, they what do they refer to, or how it has to be understood? See this. How do we understand this? That samyama on dhruva yields gati jñānam. Let us try to understand stepwise from the classical yogic view. Now here, keep in mind this particular thing. It follows from the Sankhya Yoga, psychology and terminology. It follows like that. Now, first step is selection of the object. That is Vishaya. Here the chosen object is Dhruva, the pole star, as the meditation object. The practitioner steadies attention on this form, quality and symbolic function of Dhruva, that pole star. Dharana, holding, fix the mind on Dhruva, a concentrated, disciplined attention that excludes distractions. Visualization, mantra or mental image. This is dharana. Now dhyana is flow. The fixed attention becomes uninterrupted. So the meditator dwells in the object so that the observer and the observed, the object and the observer, they draw close together. Then samadhi. Samadhi is merging stage. The separation between the seer, the seen, reduces. The awareness rests in the essential quality of the dhruva. This is how it goes. Samyama. Samyama is the combined practice, the integrated application of dharana, dhyana, samadhi on this object dhruva. From this integrated state arises a refined mode of cognition. So this cognition is not discursive thought. This is a thought, but it's a direct insight into the object's essential characteristics. Here, the directions, the patterns, the courses, gati, all these are associated with the celestial motion. So here, what is this? This is a kind of an apparent mechanism, yogic account, from the yogic account. The yogi, the sadhaka, his subtle body, that is sukshma sharira, sukshma chitta, the subtle body is freed from gross sensory constraints. See, this sukshma sharira, it is freed from all this gross, like eyes, ears, this skin, all those things. It is separated from this, and that is able to register very subtle influences and perceive relationships that are not accessible to ordinary senses. Through repeated practice, the yogi's inner perception, this maps the relative motions and relations of central bodies experienced as gati jñānam. Now, there are certain requirements and limitations here, limits. So classical writers, they stress that such cognition requires purity, austerity, sustained practice, and often it requires maturity, permission or maturity. It is not automatic or guaranteed. This is not automatic. It does not come like that. This has got certain things. After all, this mind is a very great instrument. Through this mind, through this manas, through this whatever called brain, we have created many other things. For example, the sophisticated planes, the sophisticated computer equipment, sophisticated whatever you name them in this world, in this whatever that we have achieved. the mankind has achieved, it is through this mind only. So this is a greater power. This is the greatest power, greatest human. It's not machine, it's a human power that can create all these things, that can perceive all these things. Therefore, no instrument is better than this. Anyway, so there is always a question as to whether this knowledge achieved, whether this is intuitive, whether it is systematic, whether it is logical. Normally a scientist, normally a person who is rational, he will ask all these, he will get into his mind all these thoughts. Primarily direct, intuitive, non-discursive, not analytic reasoning, but some structure can emerge that appears systematic. This is how we can answer this. Yogic, we can call it as epistemology. Yogic jnana here is a direct cognition, pratyaksha, aparoksha in the sense of immediate perception. It is not anumana, inference. It is like seeing rather than deducing. The yogi does not compute planetary orbits via mathematics. He perceives the pattern trajectory in inner vision. This is how you can try to understand this. So there is a doubt that whether it is intuition versus logic, how it is. The experience which he receives is immediate and non-verbal, that is intuitive. However, a disciplined practitioner may gain consistent, repeatable inner experiences that can be expressed in a structured language later, thus giving an appearance of systematic knowledge. So now, always, we all think of the modern parallels, how it is relatable or how you can compare this and what it exactly are. So now, cognitive neuroscience, what we call the psychology, might frame this psychology might frame this result as altered state of perception, and you can say it is a highly trained pattern recognition. And the third aspect is inner model simulation. In other words, intense focused attention, inner attention, alters sensory gating and predictive modeling in the brain. This allows access to subtle internal representations that feel direct. That is an experiential, introspective form of knowledge, not the same epistemic status as instrument-based observation. So now, how to understand and evaluate such claims in modern scientific terms? Like, how do we understand? Different epistemic domains. Scientific knowledge is equal to empirically observable, instrument measured, repeatable, intersubjectively verifiable thing. This is that thing. This yogic inner knowledge is phenomenological, first person, often not repeatable between different observers without training. Now, possible cognitive mechanisms, this modern hypothesis, intensified attention and sensory gating change how the brain samples information, improved pattern detection in memory, imagination, you can call that. Hypnagogic altered states produce vivid imagery that can be mistaken for external perception. That is also there. The training effect, long practice builds internal models that let the mind simulate complex dynamical systems like planetary motion from subtle cues. Embodied cognition, focused somatic states, breathe, prana, change neural dynamics, and subjective access to information. Verification and testing, how a modern researcher could approach it. This is careful documentation, practitioner records specific testable claims, dates, positions, trajectories written before checking instruments. Independent confirmation, compare the yogic report with astronomical ephemerides, observatory, things like that. Reproducibility, have multiple trained practitioners attempt the same focused task under controlled conditions. Blinding and controls, avoid retrospective fitting of descriptions to data sets, use pre-registered protocol, something like that. If consistent correlations are found beyond chance, then further scientific study is warranted. If not, treat the reports as meaningful subjective experiences rather than objective astronomical discovery. Of course, the caveats are subjective reports are vulnerable to memory bias, confabulation, and post hoc interpretation. Permission from DT and metaphysical claims lie outside empirical science. They are beliefs, interpretations accompanying the experience. Even when inner reports match observable facts, this does not automatically imply a mechanism that science recognizes. It may indicate excellent pattern recognition, coincidence, and a non-explanation phenomena like this. So, the practical advice for a modern seeker or researcher is treat yogic gati jñānam as valuable inner data, interesting and meaningful, but different from telescopic and ephemeris data. If one wishes to bring inner insight and science, record specific beforehand, invite independent verification, be cautious about drawing metaphysical conclusions from single cases. Remember Patanjali's ethical warning, most important, do not get attached to siddhis. They are not the final aim. He says they are not the final aim. So, to summarize, the Sutra 329, dhruve tad gati jñānam, samyama on Dhruva yields knowledge of planetary stars courses. Nature of that knowledge, primarily direct, non-discursive, perceptional knowing produced by concentrated inner practice, not logical calculation. The modern views understand it as first person altered state cognition. If you want scientific status, design controlled pre-registered comparisons with empirical data. So this is about this gati jñānam. Gati jñānam, dhruve tad gati jñānam. We are trying to make out we are trying to address this from different angles, and then practically how this can be understood. Maybe we will try to understand each of these aspects in different different episodes. I hope this was quite very intriguing, and please like, share, and then subscribe to my channel. Please post your comments in the comment box. Thank you viewers for your valuable time in listening to this. Thank you.